Ever get that feeling, like you're totally surrounded? Not by, like, people, but by something you can't even see. They're talking about wireless signals, right? They're
Mm.
how we connect to everything these days. Streaming, browsing. But what if someone figures out how to, I don't know, listen in on those conversations?
Yeah, it's kind of wild when you think about it. Most of us just use Wi-Fi and Bluetooth without even a thought about who else might be listening in.
And that's what we're diving into today. We're going deep on wireless hacking, taking the technical stuff like from Linux Basics for Hackers
Mhm.
and breaking it down. Because let me tell you, this book gets seriously in depth.
Oh, it does. It lays bare the actual commands and techniques that, people with less than noble intentions might use.
Right. And that's the point, right? To protect ourselves, we got to understand the game. So let's start with the familiar Wi-Fi. Our source, Linux Basics for Hackers, throws out terms like ESID, BSID, channels. Got any plain English translations for us?
Absolutely. Think of the ESID like the name of a restaurant you see on a sign, right? It's that coffee shop Wi-Fi or whatever pops up on your phone. It's what's public.
Okay, that tracks. So where does BSID fit in?
Think of that as more like the restaurant's actual address. It's unique, hidden from casual view, but crucial if you're trying to, say, deliver something to that specific location. Hackers use that BSID, the access point's MPACE address, to zero in on a target.
So it's like knowing the exact house instead of just the street name.
Exactly. And then you've got channels. Think of those like different radio frequencies the network can use. There's a limited number, which for someone trying to cause trouble makes things easier.
So fewer places to hide, basically.
You got it. And here's where it gets kind of scary. Linux, the operating system many hackers prefer, has built-in commands that can reveal all this info. It's like having a master key for Wi-Fi right there in the system.
Okay, now you've got my attention. What kind of commands are we talking about?
Well, one example is Iowa List. It's like a hacker's radar scanning for nearby networks and just spilling the beans. ESID, BSID, what channel it's on, even the security type.
No way.
Oh.
So just typing that in, you can see all that.
Yep. A lot of these hacking tools, they're out in the open, not even that hard to use. That's what we're talking about this. And it gets wilder with the NMCLI command.
NMBLI, that's a new one. What's that do?
Stands for Network Manager Command Line Interface, but who cares about that, right? Point is, not only does it show even more about nearby networks, but it can actually connect to them.
Wait, hold on. Someone could, like, hijack my connection with a few lines of code. That's unsettling.
It highlights why knowing this stuff matters, even if you never go rogue yourself, right?
Right, right. So we've got these commands, iList, NMTAI. It's like peeking behind the Wi-Fi curtain.
Yeah.
But to really get down to business, we got to talk about monitor mode.
Exactly. Imagine giving your network card, like, super hearing. It can pick up every single Wi-Fi conversation around it, not just its own. That's monitor mode in a nutshell.
So it's like going from a private chat to being in a room full of people, hewing everything. That's powerful, but also kind of creepy.
Powerful, yeah. And that's why hackers love it. But to actually activate monitor mode, you need more than just those built-in Linux commands. This is where we get into, like, air cracking territory.
Air crack. Sounds kind of intense. What exactly are we dealing with here?
Think of it as, like a multi-tool for Wi-Fi hacking. It's actually a bunch of different tools, each with its own purpose. Don't worry, we're not giving hacking lessons here. The goal is to understand how these things work, right?
Right, exactly. Knowledge is power, as
Yeah.
they say. So what can these tools actually do?
Okay, so you'd start with air moning. That's the one that actually puts your network card into that super hearing monitor mode we were talking about. It's like flipping the switch to enable the eavesdropping, basically.
Got it. So we're in monitor mode, listening to everything. What's next?
Now we bring in arrow dumping. If monitor mode is the hearing, this is the recording. Arrow dumping captures those data packets flying around.
Data packets. I hear that term a lot, but what are we actually talking about?
Imagine, like, a little digital envelope stuffed with information. Your device and the network are sending these back and forth constantly. Websites you visit, emails, even potentially login info.
Okay, so arrow dumping is basically intercepting my mail to find the good stuff.
Pretty much. And remember those ESIDs and BSSIDs? Arrow dumping grabs those two, plus details about the network security, how well it's actually protecting things.
We've got the snooping with ArrowMom, the recording with arrow dumping Kim. Getting into some ethically tricky territory here. What's the final piece?
This is where it gets a bit, shall we say, less than ethical. The next tool is airplaying. This one can actually force a device to disconnect from the Wi-Fi.
Hold on, they're kicking someone off the Wi-Fi. Why would they even do that?
Because when that device reconnects, it has to do a handshake with the network. During that handshake, a password hash gets exchanged. It's like a scrambled version of your actual Wi-Fi password.
Ah, okay. And that's what they're really after, right? What can they do with this password hash?
Time for some actual cracking. They'd
Yeah.
use another tool, often air cracking itself, to try and unscramble that hash, reveal the actual password.
So it's like picking a lock, but for my
You
Wi-Fi.
got it. And there's a few ways to do it. One common one is the old dictionary attack.
Dictionary attack, using big words to confuse the network or something.
Not quite. They basically take a huge list of common passwords, think thousands, even millions, and run them through a program to compare against that captured hash. If it matches, boom, they're in.
So the stronger my password, the better, right?
Absolutely. Unique, complex passwords are key.
Hmm.
But as we're about to see, Wi-Fi is only one part of the wireless world. Let's shift gears to something even more embedded in our lives. Bluetooth.
Bluetooth, huh?
Hmm.
Okay, so that's everywhere these days. Headphones, fitness trackers. My fridge can probably connect with Bluetooth at this point. But it always seemed kind of harmless. You're telling me it's just as risky as Wi-Fi.
See, that's the thing, right? Bluetooth is all about convenience, not so much about hardcore security. And the more we connect, the more opportunities for, well, troublemakers.
Okay, so how does this even work with Bluetooth? Are we still talking about signals, passwords, all that?
Some similarities, for sure. Remember how every Wi-Fi network has that unique BSSID? Bluetooth devices, they've got their own identifiers, those MASI addresses we talked about. Hackers can use those to, like, home in on a specific device.
You're saying they can pick out MY phone from a crowd,
Yep.
not just any phone that happens to be in range.
You got it. And a common way they do that is through the pairing process.
Pairing. That's just like getting two Bluetooth things that talk to each other.
Yeah.
What's so dangerous about that?
Think about it. When you pair, say, your phone and your headphones, they exchange a kind of secret code called a link key. That's what lets them connect securely next time.
Okay, so where's the security flaw?
Hackers have figured out ways to snag those link keys during the pairing process itself. Or even worse, crack them after the fact. Like, imagine someone swiping your house key while you're changing the locks.
It's not good. So someone could be listening to my conversations through my Bluetooth headphones.
Possible, though newer Bluetooth versions made it tougher with better encryption, but that's not even the scariest part.
There's more. Okay, hit me with it.
Let's talk tools of the trade. Just like with Wi-Fi, Linux has commands, whole tools meant to mess with Bluetooth.
Lay it on me. What are we talking about here?
One of the big ones is Height Tool. Super versatile, this thing. Hackers can use it to scan for nearby Bluetooth devices, see their names, what they're offering, even try to connect.
So like the Bluetooth version of iList. See what's out there. Maybe try the doorknob.
Bingo. Then there's L2 Ping. That one acts like sonar, sending out signals to see if a specific device is in range, if it's active. Way to scope out potential targets.
So say they've got their eye on my phone. Worst case scenario, what can they actually DO?
Depends on the vulnerability, how secure your phone is, but here's the scary thought. They could get into the data on your phone. Contacts, messages, even photos in some cases.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. And it's not just about stealing stuff, right? They could, like, take control.
Potentially, yeah. Make calls, send messages as if it's you, even use your camera without you knowing.
So my phone becomes a puppet. Great. Just great.
And here's the thing, right? It's not always just about one device. Remember botnets?
Oh, right. The whole army of zombie devices.
Your innocent little smartphone, always got that Bluetooth on, could become part of that army. They can use it to launch bigger attacks, and you'd be none the wiser.
Okay. So we've gone from eavesdropping on Wi-Fi to potentially having our devices hijacked. If our listeners take away one thing from all this, what should it be?
It all comes down to awareness. The more you understand how this stuff works, the risks involved, the better you can protect yourself. Knowledge is power, even when it's invisible, you know?
Right, exactly. It's not about being scared. It's about being smart.
Yeah.
So practical advice. What can people DO?
Number one, always, and I mean always, use strong, unique passwords for your Wi-Fi. That's like locking your front door, basic but essential.
Makes sense. What about Bluetooth? Just like leaving it on all the time? Probably not the best idea.
Exactly. Turn it off when you're not using it. Easy habit to develop, makes a big difference. And when you do pair devices, be mindful of where you are, not in a crowded coffee shop where anyone could be listening in.
Be picky about who you let into your tech circle, basically.
Exactly that. Every device is a potential entry point these days, right? But knowing that, taking some simple precautions, you massively reduce the risk.
This has been eye-opening, to say the least. Went from feeling surrounded by these invisible signals to actually understanding them. Thanks for taking us through it.
Happy to do it. Remember, folks, stay curious, stay safe out there. Knowledge is your best defense.
And that's a wrap on another deep dive. Hope you found it useful, maybe even a little empowering. We've got resources linked in the show notes if you want to explore further. Until next time, stay curious, everyone.